Marcus Johnson settled into his seat on Flight 247, juggling a small backpack and a board book for his daughter, Ayesha. The cabin was bright with morning light, and the low hum of the engines felt familiar and steady. Ayesha sat beside him, her legs swinging with excitement as she pressed her forehead against the window. She loved planes, how they roared to life and felt like giant birds taking off into the sky. Her round eyes shone with joy, framed by her favorite pink glasses, the ones she chose because they matched her sparkly sneakers. Marcus smiled at her, smoothing a stray curl behind her ear. He had planned this trip for months, a chance for the two of them to spend time together before his busy season at work swept him away. When the seatbelt sign dinged off, Ayesha carefully stood, determined to get her sketchbook from the overhead bin. She imagined drawing clouds and tiny houses below, and she wiggled her shoulders until she could reach. Marcus held her hand, ready to lift her if needed, but she stretched on her tiptoes and grabbed the strap. In that moment, her glasses slipped down her nose. She frowned, tugged at the frame, and lifted them back up. But as she did, her elbow nudged against the bin door, and a hard tap sent her glasses tumbling onto the aisle floor. Marcus caught sight of the glasses before they hit the carpet. He bent forward, ready to retrieve them, when a sharp snap echoed. In the aisle, Ayesha's mouth fell open. She looked up at the flight attendant, a woman in a crisp uniform, whose foot pressed down on the parts of the frame, bending them almost in two. The attendant's lips pressed into a thin line, her eyes hard. She reached down with one hand, picked up the broken pieces of the glasses, and dropped them into her pocket as if they were nothing. A hush fell over the neighbors in the row. An older man raised his eyebrows. A mother 3 seats behind gave a small gasp. But the flight attendant turned her back and continued down the aisle, her stride stiff. Ayesha's eyes filled with tears. She sank onto her seat, clutching the arms as if they would protect her. Marcus's heart twisted with anger and shame for his little girl. She shook her head, tears spilling freely, and whispered, "Daddy, my glasses." Marcus stood quickly, his voice calm but firm. "Excuse me," he said, walking toward the attendant. His hand rested lightly on the back of Ayesha's seat, a silent promise that he was there. "Could I have those back?" he asked, his tone steady. The attendant stopped, glanced at him, then at the broken frames in her hand. For a moment, her face softened, but only for a blink. Then she said they were in the way, and flicked the pieces toward him. He caught them and saw that one lens hung loose. The bridge twisted beyond repair. He turned back to his daughter, lifted the frames, and knelt beside her. Ayesha's lower lip trembled. Marcus covered her small hand with his own. He said, "I'm so sorry, sweetheart. We'll fix this." He stood, pressed the broken glasses against his chest, and looked for the captain. A flight attendant in the back called out, "Is everything all right here?" Marcus gestured toward Ayesha's seat. The attendant approached, concern in her eyes, and leaned down. "I'm sorry about what happened," she said gently. "Let me see if I can help." She led Marcus and Ayesha to the small galley area near the front. Ayesha wiped her eyes with the back of her hand and sniffled. The attendant retrieved a pair of spare reading glasses from beneath the counter and offered them to Ayesha. They were too big and pinched her temples, but the attendant adjusted them as best she could. They perched limply on Ayesha's nose. Let out a small sigh, not angry, just tired. Marcus watched his daughter, her fingers tracing the new frames, and felt the weight of the moment. The truth was, these plain glasses could not replace her favorite pair. But he managed a soft smile. "Thank you," he said to the attendant. "But these are not hers. She needs her own glasses fixed." The attendant's gaze flicked away. She nodded, apologized again, and offered a voucher for the airline's distance discount at a local optical shop. Marcus accepted the voucher, but nodded that it would not be enough. He gathered Ayesha into a gentle hug. She rested her head against his chest, tears still wet on her cheek. He whispered that they would get her a new frame and lens as soon as they landed. He promised to make things right. Other passengers watched, quietly. Some offered sympathetic glances, others returned to their devices. As the plane reached cruising altitude, Marcus settled Aisha back into her seat. He unfolded the voucher, smoothed the creases, and placed it in his pocket around them. The cabin lights dimmed just slightly, and the hum of conversation resumed. Marcus opened his laptop to check an email from his office, a reminder of the big contract he had been working on for months. His mind drifted back to the broken glasses. He felt a knot of anger toward the attendant's careless act. But more than that, he felt a fierce need to protect his daughter's dignity. Aisha pressed her cheeks against the window again, quieter now. She drew a small cloud on her sketchbook with a stubby crayon. Her lines wobbled, but she smiled as she drew. Marcus watched her, heart aching and proud all at once. He tapped his pen against the laptop, forming a plan to follow up with the airline's customer service as soon as they landed. He would ask for a full apology and to hear exactly how they would make sure no family had to experience this again. The flight attendant passed by once more, paused at Marcus's seat, and offered a polite, "I hope your daughter feels better." Soon, Marcus nodded, holding up the broken frames. His look was steady. "Thank you," he said. "We'll see you tomorrow." Aisha looked up, meeting his eye. He smiled and gave her a thumbs up. She grinned back and went on drawing. Folded his laptop closed. The rest of the flight went by in quiet companionship's soft hum of engines, whispered stories, gentle smiles. And in every gentle glance they shared, Marcus and Aisha found new strength together. They knew that what mattered most was that they were a team ready to face the world's mistakes with kindness and resolve. Marcus and Aisha stepped off the plane into the warm light of the airport terminal. The bustle of rolling suitcases and bright advertising screens surrounded them. But Marcus felt a tight focus on repairing what had been broken. He held Aisha's hand, gently guiding her through the crowd. Though she still wore the oversized reading glasses, she walked with quiet dignity. The voucher in his pocket felt heavy, a promise that fell short of what she really needed. They made their way to the baggage claim. Aisha's small backpack rested against Marcus's leg. She kept glancing at the frames perched on her nose, adjusting them every few seconds. Marcus knelt beside her, smiled, and said softly, "You did great back there. We're almost at the shop to get you real glasses." Aisha nodded, relief mixing with excitement. She loved new things almost as much as she loved her old pink frames. The carousel churned and spat out their suitcases. Marcus grabbed theirs, lifted them onto his shoulder, and wheeled them toward the terminal exits. He watched Aisha's steps, resolved to make sure this trip started with hurt would not end without a sense of justice and care. Outside, the sun was bright, and a breeze lifted Aisha's curls. Marcus hailed a cab and lifted Aisha inside. As the taxi pulled away, the airport terminal shrank in the rear window. Marcus opened his phone and dialed the airline's customer relations hotline. He tapped his finger on the screen as it rang. After a few rings, a polite voice answered, "Good afternoon. This is Emily from Sky Connect Airlines. How may I assist you today?" Marcus cleared his throat. "Hello, Emily. My name is Marcus Johnson. This morning, during the flight, a flight attendant broke my daughter's glasses in half. I'd like to report this incident and discuss how it will be addressed." Emily's tone went calm and concerned. "I'm very sorry to hear that, Mr. Johnson. Could you please give me more details? I want to understand exactly what happened, so I can help." Marcus described the event clearly. How Aisha reached into the overhead bin, her glasses slipped, the attendant snapped them, and offered ill-fitting spares and a voucher as compensation. He explained how wrong it felt, and how the voucher would not replace Aisha's favorite frames. Emily typed quickly on her computer, then paused. "Mr. Johnson, I apologize for that experience. That is not the standard of care we aim to provide. May I ask if you still have the broken glasses with you?" "Yes, I have them," Marcus said. "I can send a photo if that helps." "That would be helpful," Emily replied. "Please send the photo to customer.relations@skyconnect.com and include your flight number and date. I will escalate this to our service recovery team. We can arrange for a replacement pair of similar or better quality, and we can refund your family's tickets if you wish." Marcus hesitated. A full refund felt unnecessary. He valued the time with his daughter, and he did not want to cancel their return flight. But he did want an apology from the airline and to ensure they trained their staff better. "Thank you, Emily. I don't want a full refund. But I do want a sincere apology and to know what measures you will put in place to prevent such behavior. And I do want a replacement pair of glasses that look like Aisha's pink frames. She chose them herself, and they mattered to her." "Understood, Mr. Johnson," Emily said. "I will personally follow up. You should receive an email within 24 hours. Is there anything else I can do?" Marcus closed his eyes for a moment. He thought of the big contract he was negotiating, a travel partnership worth over $1 billion. He could use that leverage. But he decided to keep this call focused on Aisha's needs. "That's all for now. Thank you." He hung up and turned to Aisha. "I sent off an email with a photo of your glasses. You'll have your own special pair soon." Aisha beamed. She hopped in her seat a little, tugging at the two large frames. "Pink glitter," she said, hopeful. They arrived at a small optical shop near the hotel where they were staying. Marcus led Aisha inside. The shop smelled of new plastic frames and polished wood. A kind optician greeted them. Marcus explained the situation. The optician examined the broken glasses and then measured Aisha's face for a new pair. Aisha helped pick out frames, pink, sparkly, sturdy. The optician promised they would fit her prescription lenses in the afternoon and have them ready by tomorrow. As they left the shop, Marcus felt a burden lift. He had taken the first step, reaching out to the airline and getting his daughter what she needed. He also realized how something small or broken pair of glasses could reveal so much about respect and care. Back at the hotel, they settled into their room. Aisha curled up on the bed with her board book while Marcus called his assistant at the office. He asked for the status of the big contract, checking that nothing had fallen through while he handled this family matter. His assistant reported that all was on track. Marcus nodded, relieved. He then drafted a detailed email to the airline's customer relations department. He thanked them for listening and outlined his expectations. A formal apology letter, replacement glasses matching the ones that were destroyed, and evidence of staff retraining. He copied Emily's email address and pressed send. The next morning, Aisha woke early, eager to collect her new glasses. Marcus walked her down to the optical shop. When they arrived, the optician handed over the box. Aisha opened it and slid on her new frames. They fit perfectly. She looked up at Marcus through the pink glitter frames, eyes shining. "They're perfect," she said softly. Marcus smiled and hugged her. She skipped back toward the hotel. Turning to show off her glasses as if she were on a runway, he laughed. He felt like a proud father. Later that day, Marcus's phone chimed with an email notification. It was from Emily at SkyConnect Airlines. He opened it and read the formal apology. The airline expressed regret for the attendant's actions, acknowledged the distress caused to his daughter, and promised to implement new sensitivity training for all cabin crew. They outlined a partnership with a nonprofit organization that would provide free eye exams and vision aid to children in underserved communities. Emily also confirmed they would cover the cost of Aisha's glasses and ship a pair of backup frames. To their home address, Marcus felt a surge of satisfaction. He replied, thanking her and asking for a timeline on the training program. He closed his laptop. That evening, Marcus and Aisha had dinner at a cozy family restaurant. Aisha proudly carried her board book and drew freehand sketches of their day: the plane, the taxi, the optical shop, and her new glasses. Marcus listened as she described each scene, amazed by her attention to detail. He asked her questions about her drawings, encouraging her budding creativity. When it was time for bed, Marcus tucked Aisha in, her new glasses resting on the nightstand. She yawned, pulled the covers up, and said, "Thanks, Daddy. Today was fun." Marcus sat beside her, brushed back her curls, and whispered, "Tomorrow will be another good day." Aisha closed her eyes. Marcus turned off the light and left the room, reflecting on how a difficult moment had become an opportunity. He had protected his daughter's feelings, held the airline accountable, and set an example of speaking up with respect. As he lay in his own bed, Marcus thought about their next steps. He would follow up on the training program, ensure that nonprofit partnership moved forward, and then return home confident that their story might help prevent similar incidents for other families. He felt gratitude for the chance to teach Aisha about standing up for herself and about kindness and resolve in the face of injustice. He drifted to sleep with images of Aisha's smile and the sparkle of her new pink frames dancing in his mind, a symbol of justice restored and of a father's promise kept. Marcus woke early the next morning, the sunrise pouring gold light through the hotel curtains. He lay in bed for a moment, thinking about the promise he had made to his daughter to make things right. Today, he would call the airline's top executive. He dressed quickly, chose a crisp shirt, and gathered his things. Aisha was still asleep in the next room, her new pink glasses resting safely on the nightstand. In the hotel lobby, Marcus sat at a small table near the front desk. He opened his laptop and reviewed notes he had made, phone numbers, names, and the details of the big travel contract he was negotiating. He had a meeting lined up in 2 days with the head of SkyConnect's corporate partnership team. That deal was worth well over $1 billion, a key part of his company's growth plan. He thought about how many families flew with SkyConnect each year, how many stories of little hurts went unnoticed. He tightened his jaw. This was his chance to insist on real change. Before making the call, Marcus drafted an email to his own board of directors. He wrote that he intended to put the partnership on hold unless SkyConnect took swift, concrete actions. He stressed that any company he worked with must treat every customer with respect. Pressed send. Then he picked up his phone and dialed the number for SkyConnect's CEO, Mr. Lawrence Carter. The phone rang twice. On the third ring, a clear voice answered. "Good morning, this is Lawrence Carter." "Mr. Carter," Marcus began, his tone firm but respectful. "This is Marcus Johnson. We've been in talks about a major travel partnership. I wanted to speak with you personally about an incident involving my daughter on one of your flights." There was a pause. Marcus imagined Mr. Carter in his office, surrounded by awards and pictures of new aircraft. "I'm very sorry to hear you were displeased, Mr. Johnson. Please tell me what happened." Ow. Marcus took a deep breath. "On Flight 247 from Chicago to Dallas yesterday, my 8-year-old daughter Aisha had her glasses snapped in half by one of your flight attendants. My daughter was in tears. The attendant offered only a pair of oversized reading glasses and a voucher for a discount." Mr. Carter cleared his throat. "I understand, and I apologize. We're investigating this internally." Marcus pressed on. "I appreciate that. But I want to be clear. This is more than a simple mistake. My daughter felt humiliated. I want a formal apology from you and your company, and I want to see the exact measures you will take to prevent this in the future." Another pause. "I believe we can handle this appropriately," Mr. Carter said. "We value your partnership, and I assure you we will act." Marcus felt his resolve strengthen. "Mr. Carter, I am about to finalize the agreement that brings us together. It is worth over $1 billion. But I cannot move forward unless I see proof that your staff will learn from this. I want sensitivity training for every member of your cabin crew, a report on how the training is carried out, and a commitment to partner with a nonprofit that helps children who need vision care." Mr. Carter sighed. "That is a serious list of demands." "It is a fair list," Marcus replied. "My daughter's dignity is at stake. If you agree to these terms, I will move forward with our deal. If not, I will have to consider other airlines." Silence. Marcus took a moment to steady himself. He pictured Aisha's face when she discovered her broken glasses. He felt her pain once more. Finally, Mr. Carter said, "I will need 48 hours to gather the details and come back to you. I will be honest, we have processes in place, but I understand. Your concerns? I promise to return to you with a plan." "Thank you, Mr. Carter," Marcus said, then hung up. He leaned back in his chair, feeling a mix of relief and tension. He had made his stand clear. Now he would wait. Back in their room, Aisha greeted him with a sleepy smile. "Daddy, did you call the nice lady again?" she asked. He ruffled her curls. "I talked to the head of the airline. Promised to fix things." Aisha yawned. "Okay." She climbed onto the bed and opened her sketchbook, ready to draw. Marcus watched her, filled with pride. He joined her, sketching a small plane with wings made of hearts. The morning passed slowly. Marcus worked on presentations for his upcoming board meeting, but his thoughts kept returning to the airline. He refreshed his email every few minutes, waiting for Mr. Carter's reply. By mid-afternoon, an email arrived with the subject line, "Our plan for better care?" Marcus read, "Dear Mr. Johnson, thank you for speaking with me this morning. Please find our proposal. A formal apology letter from me and the entire SkyConnect executive team to you and your daughter. A mandatory company-wide sensitivity training program for all cabin crew, focusing on respect, empathy, and cultural awareness. Training will be completed within 3 months. A partnership with Clear Vision Foundation to provide free eye exams and glasses to children in underserved communities. We will commit $2 million over the next 2 years. A process to audit and improve customer service incidents, with quarterly reports shared to you and your team. We value your trust and hope this plan meets your expectations. Sincerely, Lawrence." Carter, CEO, SkyConnect Airlines. Marcus reread the list, examining each point. It was a strong response. The sensitivity training and nonprofit partnership were exactly what he had asked for. He could see that his words had weight. He closed his laptop and stood. Aisha was building a tower of blocks. He hugged her. "The plan is good, sweetheart. We'll make sure they keep their promises." She smiled and handed him a block. He placed it on top of her tower, careful not to knock it over. Together they finished building. That evening, Marcus sent a reply to Mr. Carter, expressing appreciation and asking for a timeline on training and reports. He copied the airline's customer relations team and included a note that he would revisit the partnership as soon as he saw proof of action. He pressed send. The next day, Marcus checked in with the Clear Vision Foundation. Their team was thrilled at the new partnership. They began drafting plans to set up mobile clinics at schools and community centers. Marcus felt his heart swell with hope. This event, born from a moment of unfairness, might help thousands of children. Meanwhile, news of the partnership and the airline's commitments spread quietly at first. SkyConnect posted a statement on their website, and industry media picked up the story. A few blogs mentioned the incident. "CEO uses billion-dollar contract to push for better service," one headline read. Social media buzzed with comments praising Marcus's stand for his daughter and for other families. Back on the second morning, Marcus packed his bags for the journey home. Aisha sat in the lobby, coloring a thank you card for the airline. She drew a plane with pink wings and wrote, "Thank you for helping me."
Yes.
Marcus kissed her cheek, proud of her gentle spirit. At the airport, they boarded their flight. Marcus held Aisha's hand as they walked down the jet bridge. He saw members of the cabin crew greet passengers with extra care. One attendant handed Aisha a small box with a new pair of pink glasses, gifted by SkyConnect, in advance of her own frames arriving at home. Aisha's face lit up. Later, when the captain made the welcome announcement, he paused and added, "On behalf of SkyConnect, I want to apologize to the Johnson family for any distress caused. We're committed to doing better." Passengers applauded. Aisha smiled broadly and waved. As the plane lifted off, Marcus watched the city fade beneath them. He felt relief and pride. He had used his influence for good, and his daughter had taught him that every small voice mattered. He squeezed her hand. Aisha leaned against him and whispered, "Thank you, Daddy." Marcus kissed the top of her head. "Thank you for trusting me, kiddo." The engines roared. Ahead lay home, new plans, and a partnership built on respect. And in Marcus's heart, the memory of his daughter's courage and the airline's promise would stay long after the flight ended. Marcus and Aisha arrived home to a warm welcome. Their house smelled of fresh flowers and clean sheets. Marcus carried Aisha's suitcase while she held her new pink glasses in a box. Inside, mail awaited them, a letter from Lawrence Carter, the SkyConnect CEO. He thanked them again, and included details about the training sessions, plus invitations to attend the first workshop next week. Aisha peered over Marcus's shoulder as he read aloud. That evening, Marcus sat at his desk, placing the letters in a neat stack. He picked up his phone and sent a message to Emily in customer relations. He wrote that he appreciated the progress and looked forward to seeing the training materials. He signed off with thanks from himself and Aisha. He leaned back, relieved that his words had led to real change. The next morning, Marcus woke early as usual. He made pancakes for Aisha, who hummed a tune in the kitchen. They ate together, talking about school and art. Aisha said she wanted to help other kids who needed glasses. Marcus smiled. "We'll find a way," he promised. After breakfast, he drove Aisha to school. He kissed her on the cheek and reminded her to be proud of herself. At work, Marcus called a meeting with his leadership team. He explained that he would share reports on the airline's training and nonprofit work before finalizing the billion-dollar deal. His team nodded, impressed by his stand. They discussed how to monitor the training and how to measure success. Marcus emphasized honesty and data, number of crew-trained feedback scores, and community impact. He asked his team to prepare dashboards to track progress. That afternoon, Marcus received a package from SkyConnect. Inside, there were training manuals, videos, and a schedule for live workshops. He opened the first video on his laptop. Simple language, a trainer spoke about respect, empathy, and cultural awareness. Crew members from different backgrounds shared stories of kindness and mistakes they had learned from. Marcus felt proud that his daughter's experience could help shape this learning. Later, Aisha's class held a charity bake sale to raise money for kids who needed vision care. Aisha set up a little table with cupcakes decorated like pink hearts. She wore her glasses proudly. Marcus came after work to help. They sold every cupcake. A parent asked how many glasses the program would provide. Marcus smiled and said they expected to help hundreds of children first, then more in the months ahead. That evening, Marcus took Aisha to the local community center. The Clear Vision Foundation team was setting up stations for free eye exams. Marcus introduced Aisha to Mrs. Lewis, a friendly optometrist with warm eyes. Aisha watched other children get tested, giggling when they pressed buttons and read letters. Then it was Aisha's turn. Mrs. Lewis checked her eyes again and praised her new glasses. Aisha beamed and said, "I want every kid to have glasses like mine." Mrs. Lewis knelt beside Aisha and said, "Because of you and your dad, we can." "Do that?" Aisha's chest swelled with pride.
Actus.
Marcus hugged her and looked around at the volunteers and families. He felt joy knowing this was just the start. The next week, Marcus and Aisha attended the first live workshop for SkyConnect staff. The training room was bright, with posters of smiling passengers. Flight attendants sat in neat rows, notebooks open. A trainer welcomed everyone, then showed a video of Marcus and Aisha sharing their story. A hush fell over the room as the video ended. Marcus felt nervous, but proud. A hand shot up in the audience. A young flight attendant spoke. "I'm sorry that happened to you, Aisha. I promise to be more careful and kind." Others nodded, some with tears in their eyes. The trainer led small group discussions about how to handle customer belongings gently and how to apologize when things go wrong. Marcus watched Aisha's face light up as she heard crew members speak from their hearts. After the workshop, the CEO, Mr. Carter, joined Marcus and Aisha for a brief talk. He said, "Thank you for your courage. Because of you, every child who flies with us will be respected." Aisha shyly shook his hand. Marcus saw a real spark of change in Mr. Carter's eyes. Back home that night, Aisha placed a drawing on the fridge, showed a plane with happy faces in every window. Underneath she wrote, "Fly kind." Marcus pinned it up and kissed her forehead. Over the next month, Marcus's team received quarterly reports from SkyConnect. They showed that 95% of cabin crew completed the training. Feedback scores rose by 20%. And the Clear Vision Foundation had served over 300 children so far. Marcus shared these metrics with his board, and they praised his leadership and values. In school, Aisha told her friends about the project. She taught them a simple rhyme: eyes to see, hearts to care, we all belong when we share. Her classmates practiced it at recess. Parents and teachers smiled at how one little girl with help from her father had inspired so many. One sunny afternoon, Marcus and Aisha visited the airport again. They stood in the gate area where Flight 247 departed. A display board showed photos of events, the workshop, the bake sale, and children wearing new glasses. A plaque read, in honor of Aisha Johnson and her father, who taught us to fly with kindness. Aisha reached up and touched the plaque, proud and amazed. As they walked to the plane, a flight attendant recognized them. She knelt to Aisha's level and said, "Thank you for helping me see better ways to treat people." Aisha grinned and said, "Thank you for learning." Marcus felt a warm glow in his chest. On the flight, they sat in the same seats as before. This time, a cabin crew member brought Aisha a small gift, a plush toy wearing a tiny set of pink glasses. Aisha hugged it and whispered, "Best flight ever." Marcus smiled, thinking how far they had come. When the plane landed, passengers applauded as the captain announced their safe arrival. Some held up signs with hearts and glasses, and Aisha waved, feeling the power of kindness and change. That night, back at home, Marcus tucked Aisha into bed. She held her plush toy close. He whispered, "You did it, kiddo." She yawned and replied, "We did it." Marcus turned off the light and closed the door. He walked down the hall, heart full. He knew this story would live in each new class taught, each pair of glasses given, and every passenger reminded to treat others with respect. And he knew that his daughter's broken glasses had helped build a kinder sky for everyone. Marcus and Aisha woke up early the next morning, excited to start a new day. Through the window, the sun sent soft rays over their bedroom floor. Aisha stretched and reached for her pink glitter glasses, placing them carefully on her small nose. Marcus watched her and smiled. He felt proud of how far they had come and excited for what lay ahead. Downstairs, the kitchen smelled of fresh toast and fruit. Marcus poured orange juice into 2 glasses while Aisha set the table with a bright yellow placemat and her favorite cartoon plate. She hummed a happy tune as she spread strawberry jam on her toast. Marcus joined her, and they talked about the day's plans. Aisha wanted to visit her best friend Mia, to share the news about the Clear Vision clinics. Marcus thought he would check in on the airline's training progress and review the latest report. After breakfast, they walked hand in hand to the car. Marcus drove them to Mia's house first. Mia ran out onto her porch, waving a handful of colorful drawings. She showed Aisha the pictures she had made, airplanes with smiling faces, hearts floating in the sky, and children wearing big glasses. Aisha laughed and held up her own drawing, explaining each detail. "This is you," she said, pointing to a tiny figure with round glasses and 2 pigtails. "And this is me, wearing my pilot hat." Mia giggled, and the 2 friends skipped. Inside, to make more art, Marcus waved goodbye and drove to his office. The building was tall and glassy, reflecting the clear sky. Inside, he was greeted by his assistant, who handed him the latest Skycanic progress report. He opened it and saw good news. Over 98% of cabin crew had finished their sensitivity training, and feedback scores from families had risen sharply. The Clear Vision Foundation had expanded its clinics to 3 new neighborhoods, serving nearly 600 children so far. He smiled and thought of Aisha and all the other children whose lives would be brighter because of glasses and kindness. He replied to the report, praising the teams at SkyConnect and Clear Vision for their work, and asked for ideas on how to share this success with the wider community. That afternoon, Marcus and Aisha met at a small hall where the Clear Vision Foundation was hosting a celebration. Balloons in pink and white floated by the entrance. Tables held framed photos of children smiling in their new glasses. A local news team was there to film a short segment. Marcus gave a brief speech, speaking in simple words so Aisha and other kids could understand. He said, "Because of one little girl's broken glasses, we have learned to see the world with kindness. Every child deserves the gift of clear sight and respect." The crowd applauded, and Aisha stood on tiptoes, proud to stand beside her father. Afterward, they walked around the room, greeting families who now had access to free eye care. A little boy ran up and showed Aisha his red-framed glasses. He beamed as he said, "Thank you for helping me see." Aisha hugged him and replied, "You're welcome. Now we can play and read together." As they left the hall, Marcus felt a warm glow in his heart. He had set out to protect his daughter's dignity, and now he saw how many lives had changed for the better. On the drive home, Aisha rested her head on the window, watching trees and houses pass by. She said quietly, "Daddy, do you think other airlines will do the same?" Marcus looked at her and answered, "I hope so. Kindness should spread like sunshine." Aisha smiled and closed her eyes, drifting toward a nap. That evening, before dinner, Marcus sat at his desk to plan the next steps for the partnership with SkyConnect. He drafted ideas for a family-friendly video about the importance of kindness on flights. He imagined children of every background sharing their stories. He sketched a storyboard. A child lost a favorite toy on a flight but was comforted by a caring attendant. Another child was nervous, but the crew's gentle words made them feel safe. He knew Aisha's story would be part of it. At home, the family dog Bruno barked happily and wagged his tail when he saw them return. Aisha knelt down to pet him and then ran upstairs to pick up her sketchbook. She had an idea. She wanted to draw a comic strip about her adventure on Flight 247. Marcus followed her into her room, where crayons and paper were spread on the floor. Together, they drew 4 panels: the glasses falling, the broken frames, the kind optician, and the big workshop where crew members learned new ways to help passengers. Aisha added speech bubbles. "Oops. I'm sorry. Thank you. And we care about you." When everything was colored in, Aisha proudly showed her comic to Marcus. He marveled at her clear, simple style. He took a photo of the drawing and sent it to Emily at SkyConnect with a note. "Here is Aisha's version of our journey. Thank you for making kindness your mission." The next morning, Marcus and Aisha walked to school together. On the way, they saw a billboard by the airport road, showed a smiling child wearing glasses with the words "See clearly, fly kindly." The logo of SkyConnect and the Clear Vision Foundation were at the bottom. Aisha pointed and shouted with delight, "That's me." Marcus caught her in a hug and whispered, "You made that possible." At school, her classmates crowded around her. They talked about the billboard and asked questions. Aisha explained how her glasses had broken and how her dad helped her get new ones. She told them about the workshops and the free eye clinics. Her friends listened with wide eyes and nodded in understanding. That afternoon, Marcus visited Aisha's classroom for a kindness lesson. He brought the comic strip they had drawn. He read the panels and asked the children how it made them feel. One girl said, "It makes me sad someone was mean, but happy people helped you." The boy said, "I want to be a kind flight attendant someday." Marcus smiled and said, "Every one of us can be kind, no matter what we do." Before he left, Aisha's teacher thanked him for his time and for turning a hard moment into a lesson for everyone. Marcus patted Aisha on the head, proud of her generosity. That evening, as they sat down for dinner, Aisha asked for orange chicken, her favorite. She gobbled it down and talked a mile a minute about her day. Marcus laughed and joined in, sharing his work stories and the new ideas for the video. After dinner, Aisha climbed into Marcus's lap on the couch. He opened a storybook and began to read. As he read about brave animals and magical worlds, he thought about how real bravery and real magic had happened in their lives recently. It was not made of fiction, but of genuine care, respect, and courage. When the bedtime story ended, Aisha snuggled under her blankets. Marcus tucked her in and kissed her forehead. Aisha whispered, "I love you, Daddy." Marcus replied, "I love you, kiddo." He turned off the light and walked to the window. The sky was dark, and the stars twinkled like tiny lanterns. He thought about the long journey from that moment on the plane when Aisha's glasses broke to all they had done since. He felt grateful that his daughter's hurt had led to change for so many. In the coming weeks, Marcus continued to work with SkyConnect and the Clear Vision Foundation. They launched the kindness video, which families across the country watched and shared. Schools invited Aisha to speak at assemblies, and she taught her eyes to see, hearts to care rhyme. Parents wrote letters of thanks, saying their children had become more mindful of others. One sunny morning, Marcus received an unexpected letter. It was from a grandmother who had no way to pay for her granddaughter's glasses. She wrote that the free clinic had changed her granddaughter's life. She could now read and play games without squinting, and her confidence had soared. Marcus felt tears of joy. He printed the letter and put it on his office wall as a reminder of what mattered most. Months later, Marcus and Aisha returned to the airport for a special event. SkyConnect had invited families, press, and partners to celebrate a year of kindness and clear sight. The terminal was decorated with banners and photos. Aisha's drawings were on display, alongside pictures of smiling children from the clinics. The CEO, Mr. Carter, thanked Marcus and Aisha again and announced that SkyConnect would make the sensitivity training a living part of their company culture. As the ceremony ended, Aisha ran up to the stage and took the microphone. She looked out at the audience and said in her clear, confident voice, "When something breaks, we can fix it with kindness." The crowd cheered, and Marcus clapped until his hands hurt. On the ride home, Aisha curled against him and whispered, "This was the best trip ever." Marcus kissed her hair and said, "It was the best journey of my life." That night, Marcus wrote in his journal, "Today, I saw how one small voice can make big change. Aisha taught me that." He closed the journal, turned off his lamp, and drifted to sleep with a heart full of hope. So, the story ended not with Flight 247, but with open skies where every pair of eyes could see clearly and every heart could choose kindness.